Higher voter turnout. Mandatory voting would likely lead to a dramatic increase in voter turnout. In many democracies, participation rates are low, meaning that election outcomes often reflect the views of a minority. With compulsory voting, governments would be chosen by a larger and more representative portion of the population. More representative governments. When more citizens participate in elections, the results better reflect the diverse perspectives of the population. This could lead to policies that cater to a broader range of interests rather than just those of the most active political groups. Potential for uninformed voting. One downside of mandatory voting is that people who are not interested or informed about politics might cast random or uninformed votes. This could weaken the quality of decision-making and potentially lead to undesirable election outcomes. Stronger political engagement. If voting were a legal requirement, governments and organizations might invest more in voter education, ensuring that people are well informed about candidates and policies. This could lead to a more politically engaged and knowledgeable society. Fines or penalties for non-compliance. In countries where voting is already mandatory, such as Australia, citizens who fail to vote without a valid reason face fines. Implementing such a system globally could create debates about personal freedom and whether individuals should be legally required to participate in elections. Reduced political polarization. Mandatory voting could lessen the impact of extreme political views since a larger, more diverse population would be voting. This might result in more balanced, centrist policies rather than extreme ideological shifts driven by highly motivated voter groups. Increased accessibility to voting. To ensure fair participation, governments would need to improve voting access by providing more polling stations, mail-in ballots, and online voting options. This could make the electoral process more inclusive and convenient for all citizens. Ethical and freedom concerns. Some argue that forcing people to vote violates personal freedoms. In democratic societies, individuals should have the right to abstain from voting if they do not support any candidates or political parties. Potential for more third-party influence. Higher voter turnout could create opportunities for smaller political parties and independent candidates to gain traction. With a larger and more diverse electorate, the two-party dominance seen in some countries might weaken, allowing for more political competition and innovation. A shift in campaign strategies. If everyone were required to vote, politicians might shift their focus from mobilizing their base to appealing to a wider audience. Instead of targeting only likely voters, campaigns might focus on broader, issue-based discussions that resonate with a more diverse population. Overall, mandatory voting could lead to a more engaged and representative democracy, but it also raises concerns about individual freedom, voter education, and enforcement.